My name is Aden DeAguero, and this is Breadth of Cybersecurity Law. Ethics and law. Ethics are moral values that have been built up over time as a result of personal experiences. So, stuff such as like culture, experiences, and it could vary from individual due to those factors. And another thing to note is that they aren't enforceable. This is because it's morals. Laws, on the other hand, are enforceable, and this can be through courts and the state, which are all a part of the government. If laws are broken, legal action can be taken in the form of penalties, such as fine, jail time, etc. Since technology is always advancing, laws have a hard time of covering the gray areas. And the gray areas are stuff such as like Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, as well as AI. But we'll be talking about those later in the video. Civil disobedience and how it relates to ethical hacking. Well, the first question is, what is it? Civil disobedience is a form of political protest in which individuals aim to intentionally break laws. Now, a good thing to note is that it's a nonviolent way of protesting, so there's no intent for harm to any organizations or individuals. And the goal is to create some sort of change, politically, socially, etc. Now, this relates to ethical hacking because of hacktivism. Hacktivism is a term which essentially means trying to create change, which is exactly what civil disobedience is. And it's similar because it exposes the vulnerabilities within a company's system, it avoids damage, and it's not for any personal gain. Unethical hacking. Well, first question is, what is it? Unethical hacking is unauthorized access with intent to harm. So intent to harm means stealing someone's information, their data, etc. The person hacking has knowledge that they are going to steal this information. Now, it's good to note that there have been laws put in place in order to counteract unethical hacking. One law in particular, which is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA, it was created in order to prosecute crimes committed by hackers. And if convicted, you can be fined anywhere from thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. And for first-time offenders, it's 10 years in prison and 20 years in prison for repeat offenders. So there's fines with it and pretty extensive prison time if convicted. Gray areas. Good question is, what are they? Since technology is constantly evolving and constantly advancing, law has difficulty keeping up with all changes. This, in turn, creates places called gray areas, which are essentially areas of law that aren't equipped to address the problems at hand with advancing technologies. So, some examples of this are Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, as well as artificial intelligence. The reason I mention these is because there's a lack of clear guidelines. So, with Internet of Things, it's Alexa, smartwatches, etc., stuff like that. It's constantly monitoring and recording data, which leads to the question on whether or not it's secure or not. This leads to some privacy concerns, and with autonomous vehicles, it leads us to the question, how does this affect traffic laws and accidents caused by them? There's not an area of law that really has caught up with that. With the constant advancements of AI, it's leading us to the question on whether or not the decisions of it are good or not, and if it's allowed to be used in professional settings, as well as liability with patent laws. So these constant advancements are always causing laws to have ambiguity, just gray zones in which it just can't catch up with the law. This is the end of my presentation, and here are my references.